Have you ever been to like a really big family reunion where you see your cousins and your aunts and just long lost relatives you hadn't seen in a very long time? It can be a little bit anxious, because you get to meet new people that you maybe never knew before, people you haven't seen in a long time. But ultimately, there's still that sense of family. This is how I think church should be, better than a family reunion, honestly. But it shouldn't be a job interview. And a lot of times, going to church or being a part of some sort of Christian gathering feels more like a job interview than a family reunion. This is a Warrior Podcast, episode 172. And let's talk about how church should feel this way and not really that way. So I may be speaking out of turn. Maybe this is just me and my experiences, but I have a sneaking suspicion it isn't. I don't know if you've been to a really kind of stressful job interview before, but really what you're trying to do is present your best picture of yourself, almost selling yourself. And there's a little bit, no, there's a lot of hypocrisy behind that. You're being fake. You're putting up the best image you want the other person to think that you have so that they will be accepting of you. You're trying to get something from them. You're trying to get a particular impression from them. And this is what I find when you're really entering into some type of Christian circles and communities for the first time. And sadly enough, every time in certain instances. This is a big problem. This is not biblical at all. If you look at how scripture describes the church and the church body and church fellowship, it's not like a really stressful job interview to where you have to look a certain way, say certain things, present the best possible angles of yourself. A lot of times it's the exact opposite. You're to be in a situation where you can bear one another's burdens, that you want to share intimate details with someone so that you can work it out together. And I don't think we ever consider that we're always, I hate to say it, but being judgmental. We judge a person as like how close they are to the standard. And a lot of times that standard is ourselves, unfortunately. I'm just as guilty of this as everybody else. But at the end of the day, I feel it when I walk into the room in these situations or into these scenarios. You feel this feeling of that you're in a job interview, and there's elements of rejection more than acceptance. Now, this is not saying looking over sin and all that, because I know how things work. People look for what I call theological tripwires. I gotcha. You're getting close to heresy there. And there's a place for that, for sure, there is. But not every scenario, not every interaction has to be this job interview or a board, a educational board, or some sort of skill set or knowledge board to see exactly where your understanding lies. Sometimes just let's get together and be with one another, sharpen one another, and hopefully become closer to what Christ wants us to be in his power and in his spirit. So let's do ourselves a favor and stop with the job interviews when it comes to Christian circles and become more like a family reunion, where you can still have the call outs and the, hey man, I think you probably shouldn't do that or this, or hey man, good job on that. That happens in family reunions as much as it happens in job interviews. But the job interview just leaves you feeling disconnected and cold and dank. All right, guys, as always, you are a warrior designed for glory, God's glory. Make sure you stay in the fight by staying in his word and in his presence. God be with you. Peace.